Alright. So, Letter to Self Part 2. um, uh, this is weird talking to a camera once again. I never thought I would be doing this again because first time was really cringy to say the least. Um, but one of my mentors strongly encouraged me to do this again. Even though it was my most viewed video in the past 2 weeks, I vowed to myself never to do it again because it was just a really weird process for me. Um, because like I'm a conversationalist, but talking to an inanimate object that doesn't necessarily reply back, because I'm just looking at a dot right now, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, so with this, it's gonna be related to a decision that a pretty big decision that I just made. Actually, it's relative to this recording yesterday. Um, so I will be talking about my athletic journey, um, and my athletic story, and where that has led, like, what has led up to uh, this moment of today. So, further ado, let's go right straight into it. So, by my other videos, y'all probably have noticed that yes, I am an athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life, and sports have played a really big role in the certain experiences I have experienced, certain things that I do, the way I carry myself, obviously the way I dress, the way I talk, and also the people that I know. Ever since I was a little kid, my father will always encourage me, my younger brother Christian, also go follow his ice cream business. I'll probably put the text somewhere right here, just boop, like that. But yeah. So we was little. At first, he put us in soccer. I was a really good soccer player, but I hated my coach because he was a very stern coach, and like for a young kid, um, it really had a negative impression on me with the sport. So I vowed myself never to play soccer again. Actually, despite even though I wasn't necessarily the best, I really had a lot of physical characteristics to for me to become a very good soccer player in the future. But I vowed myself never to play soccer again. And I actually developed a deep hatred for soccer, um, due to those negative experiences. So my dad put me in basketball along with my other cousins, David and Asher, and also other teammates such as Jake. I wasn't the best basketball player in the world, to say the least. Um, I wasn't really good at handling a ball. I wasn't really good at shooting a ball either, but I was really good at defense. Um, but again, none of the things that you think of a basketball player, I never really had those characteristics. I wasn't tall. But I was really good at reading people's movements and just tapping the ball out of their dribble. Um, I was just good at swiping the ball, and I was fast. But I never in my short-lived basketball career did I ever score a point. Never, ever. But probably if there was stats recorded, I probably averaged like 4 steals a game. Um, I was just good at defense. That was pretty much it. I was a liability when it came to the offensive side of the ball. Um, Fast forward to I was like 10. I think I was still involved with basketball until 10. My dad tried to put me in AAU basketball. Didn't make the team. And I found out pretty soon I didn't want to play basketball again because I just wasn't good at it. Um, and then I knew I loved to run, and it was during the time of I think the London Olympics. I saw Usain Bolt run, and also other American runners. I think Justin Gatlin, if that was his name. That inspired me. I was like, I love to run. I just love running. I want to run track now. And my dad was like, all right, cool, we'll put you on track. So when I was about 12, going into my 6th grade or 7th grade, I think I was going into my 7th grade, I started running track over the summer. I was actually really good. Made it to States twice or once. At most twice. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I think I went with the States once. With the States, I got 3rd place, and I was on track to become a decent, not a good one, but a decent track runner. But eventually around that time period, we began. My family became traveling a lot. We went on a Disney cruise. A family member died, so I was just going back and forth. And obviously, when you're traveling and you're just doing other stuff, you don't really. I never really had the chance to run. So when I came back to track practice, obviously I was slower. So they moved me to the long distance events, and I hated it. I suck at long distance. I just wasn't built for it. So I was like, if I'm gonna be a long distance runner, yeah, I'm gonna quit. So I quit track. And then my younger brother, he picked up flag football, and I always went to his games. And I saw him play, and I was like, man, that seems like a lot of fun. I want to play flag football too. And this is when me and Christian started playing flag football together. But I only played 1 year because I was going into my 8th. I played my 8th grade year. And then I'll tell that story later in this video. But yeah, I saw him play flag football. I was like, man, only if I was out there, I would be having so much fun with my brother. So me and my friends from my neighborhood, we played flag football at the Downs at Decatur Boys and Girls Club. And since we already played football together basically every single day that around that time period, we just straight dominated everybody else. Obviously, we had my boy Galen. He was fast, he was quick, he can throw. It was awesome. And then we had Christian. He was small, but he was quick and athletic. And then we had Luca, who was just really big and strong. And then you just had me, who was just an overall dog. So like I was just I could do everything. I was a lot bigger and stronger than the kids and faster. And yeah, we just straight dominated the league. Um, but that was my only year since I was eventually becoming a freshman in high school. But I fell in love with flag football, so I want to play tackle football. Um, and my dad was like, "You sure?" Because football is not the most pleasant sport mentally or physically. But I was so sold on flag football. I was like, if I can dominate in flag football, I can dominate anywhere. Obviously, once I got to high school football, I got to a rude awakening. I thought I was the best kid in the room. Later did I know, oh boy, that was 18 years old, had D1 offers, obviously the best person in the room. I was not the strongest. I was definitely not the biggest because I was still like 4'11", 5 foot. And I didn't grow that much, even though I'm a rising sophomore in college. I didn't grow that much. um, so high school football was a rude awakening for me going into ninth grade. Um, it was my first time lifting weights. First time doing any type of contact drills. I was pretty much a hit dummy for the seniors at the time, and it sucked. But the thing is, I loved the team aspect of it, and I loved the game. I just fell in love with the spirit and the rigor of football. Um, Little did I know I wanted to keep playing. But I had to switch schools because my parents didn't like the fact that the school I was going to was giving me a bunch of busy work that really didn't matter to my education, and it didn't really teach me anything. Um, so I went to the school I played for my freshman year, Arabia Mountain High School, the best high school in the world. I wish I could go back to that school. Um, but I went. It was a really big public, predominantly black school, and then I went to a really small, predominantly white school. So complete inverse to what I experienced in my freshman year of high school. And the thing about the new school I went to, the name of the school is called the New School. A lot of people roast me for that for years, and yes, I went to a high school called the New School, and yes, and if it is 100 years old, it will still be called the New School. The old school that is called the New School, yes, it is called the New School. Um, yeah, I went to the New School, and they didn't have any sports whatsoever, like none. So I had to go find a place to play football if I wanted to continue playing high school football. There's this thing back, like not even back in the day. It was like 2-3 years ago. Um, I played for this team called East Atlanta Mustangs. Um, it's a homeschool team, and we got to play homeschool teams around Georgia and also small private schools, um, Christian private schools to be more specific. And yeah, I went to a new team. Oh, and my brother is back. but but yeah, I played for them. I was a second string outside linebacker, and I eventually became the starting tight end. Even though I was only 5'1" at the time, but I was really strong and fast. Um, we had a really decent year. We went 6-4. We went to the regional championship, but we lost by like 6. Can't remember, but we lost that championship game. Um, but I knew we as a team knew we had a squad going into our to the next year, and we was expecting to go back into the championship the next year. But in my junior year, little did I know that a bunch of people left the team to go play for bigger public schools so they can get more college recruiting. Um, so my team went from like 20 kids to like 15 kids. It well, it was more than 20 kids. It's definitely more than 20 kids my sophomore year. But I know we barely had anybody on the bench my junior year. Like at most 5 people on the bench. Junior year, it was a rough year. We was a really small team. Um that year was tough for me. Not only did I have to we also lost our head coach going into my junior year. Uh that year was really tough. I by that time I knew I wanted to play college football. I loved the sport so much. I was like, yes, I'm gonna play my in college. I wanted to play in college. I was so sold to play college. I started working really hard. Started not lifting, but I started working out more. Um, doing more football drills. Um, started emailing coaches. I was on it. I was really sold. And I knew a lot of people say like by your junior year, like that's when coaches can start talking to you, and that's one of your biggest, if not your biggest year, um, for college recruiting. So I was working hard, make sure I can be the best athlete I could become. And then going into the season, they had me at fullback. And that was not a position that I necessarily could succeed in because I was just a person that was just blowing up a hole and just getting hit and hit and hit. Um, and I didn't really like that. But I kept playing because I was so sold on getting ready to play for college football. And I took the mental aspect. I was beat up. I took so many ice baths. It was just a really tough year. Um, and I was getting really depressed. I was getting discouraged. We wasn't winning a lot of games. We was getting beat up left and right. People quitting mid-season. The head coach was crazy. Um, no one knew what was going on really. It was just a bunch of rascals just strapping up in football pads and saying, "Yeah, we're a football team." It was just a collective of guys just on a football field, just getting ready to get smacked. That Friday night. Um, but the thing is, I wanted to play college football, and I needed to develop a repertoire, a collection of videos, a highlight reel that could say, yes, I am an athlete that deserves a football scholarship. Um, bruh. Dang. Dang, bro.